Hello everybody and welcome to Papillon. It's a bright early morning and we have some sunshine through the trees. I have something I want to show you. I'm just going to let you have a scan round here at the beautiful light. Look at that, the way it lights on these trees. Isn't that special? Now as I've been here, everything has just lit up like this. And I think that's gorgeous to look at. So I've literally just stepped in the forest and something made me feel there's something different here and I don't know what it is. And the first thing I saw was this. It just happens to be that the light is actually shining around here, but this was the first thing I saw. These sticks, and as you can see on the end, they're both snapped at that point there. And at that point there, they're both snapped. And I'm thinking, well, where did they come from? And what's down here? You can see that's a very chewed up piece of ground. But they're a decent length. See if I can give you an idea. That's this end, right the way along to there. What was all that about? And then I looked over here, and I saw this like a straight line. I thought, I come past here every time I come into the forest. Why have I never noticed? Why have I never noticed that? It's an old break. If you look at that, that is an old break, that's not new. So why have I never noticed it? Why have I never noticed this little bit of filigree work around here? Doesn't look like anything, but it's odd. So let me move on and back to where I was. Now I'm going to see if I can find a tree for you, which was as we came into the forest, and it was bent halfway up, like I think I pointed out and saying it was a 6-foot bend, and it met another tree up here. It's like a right angle, and here it is. Here is the same tree. Now look at it. See? So we've got 6 foot of tree here on the right, and then that meets up here. And that was, this whole branch that is here, was going directly across like that, where it met the tree with the light on. And now it is snapped like that. So I'm looking for natural things. What could have brought that down? So let's have a look. Nothing is stuck in the trees. I can categorically tell you we do not have any flying kangaroos, flying pigs. We don't have anybody landing a hot air balloon in here that might have landed on the top of that to snap it. So why, and this is in the last week, why has this been altered? And the shape, if you look at the shape, and I always do this, I think, why is it that shape? What's very high in the sky at the moment is Orion, and that is, I'll try and put an overface for you on the screen, show you what the shape of Orion is and what that is. I'm just wondering if that's connected. I just found that really odd, really unusual, and that should have been propped up against this tree here, which has this 3D conglomeration below it. Funny how the light is on that as well. Well, what do you think? If you'll give me your thoughts on that. I'll see if I can find the video and the date of the video, but it was certainly intact last week. But it's not intact now. So, as per usual, I tend to try and follow the paths of light when I'm in the forest. And I know it's just sunlight shining through because the sun is over here, but it's just something I've been drawn to do, and it might be that I'm talking codswallop nonsense. Just like to follow the light and see what it shows. Sometimes it takes me on an unusual path that I wouldn't normally take. It's like the way the trees are lit. Sometimes it's just really beautiful. When you look into the forest, it's just really, really beautiful. But we'll keep going. That first tree structure break has got me thinking. So it's about 6 degrees C. It's a little cold on the fingers, shall we say. And it's bright today. It's been very, very wet recently. So I'm just taking my time steadily through this. It's quite interesting. This forest actually becomes very, very dark when the sun shines. It's beautiful the way the light runs, but you can see how gloomy it looks, and yet it's 10 o'clock, 10:15 in the morning. So just the state of the game here. I think pretty much the Northern Hemisphere is the same all over. We are... wow. That stopped me in my tracks. I'm going to leave it here because I'll pick it up on the way. But look what's here, folks. Do you remember the other week I put a glass jar for peanut butter down? How much peanut butter do you think is in there? Now I'm carrying a coffee with me. My life depends on coffee. The label has gone completely off it. There's a tiny wincy bit in it. This was thick glass, and I hesitated to leave glass, but I thought if I did, it's just another little proof thing as far as I'm concerned as to how something or somebody could carry this away. You need hands to have lifted that up. Now they've discarded the lid, Now I'm going to leave it back down there because I am going to collect that on the way out. Isn't that fascinating? Fresh pine sprig and a cone nearby. I don't know if that's of any relevance, but I have spotted that a few times. So we're looking for a lid. So something has had to remove the lid and discard the lid somewhere. See the sunlight coming through? Eventually we might get it in the whole of the forest. Right, I have to remark, I'm just trying to remember my location, how I get, because I need to retrieve that jar, obviously. That was interesting. Tiny bit of the peanut butter left in the bottom, and I'm thinking that's quite a narrow top on the jar, so maybe it wasn't so easy to get large hands in there. Very still this morning. We've had a lot of disruptions in the weather. Now, is this a fresh break? Ooh. Don't know. Is that a glyph? It looks very ordered, two X's together. Those of you who know Futhark or runic language, it usually means fertility. But we'll see. And then this has been here for a long time, this huge tree. That has been there for a long time. But this has not. And you can see by the clean break, it hasn't had time to weather. Pointing over there towards the west. Is that the west? Yes. That's the west. Had to think then. The west. So I was asked in an email if I am careful where I put my feet, because you can't help but snap branches and things when you're walking through the forest. And yes, I am. If I see glyphs, I try not to stand on, when I say glyphs, ordered sticks on the ground, limbs on the ground that are ordered. They aren't natural. I try not to stand on those at all, because I'm aware that they probably, they've probably gone to a lot of effort to make sure that that has been left there, purposed for whatever reason they need it. So the answer to that is yes, and I recall a conversation which I believe was with Dacia Geyer, and I can't remember which area of forest I was at, and I was trying to be careful, and I recall him saying, "Now who's the Bigfoot?" This is our gifting area. How interesting. They took the lid off here. I think that's the paper. It is. That's the label that was on the jar. So they have taken the label off here, taken off the lid here. They've headed up, surprisingly, that way with it. Only, oh, that's interesting. Only the one red nylon net. Is there any lying around? So I'd just like to have a brief glance around, and I don't see anyone, don't see another one anywhere. So they've taken the whole net with them. Don't worry, that's not a problem as far as I'm concerned. I bring a fresh net every day. They're abundant. I've got a bag full of them. It's not lying anywhere on the ground. I wonder where we're going to find that. And the bells. Okay, what I'm going to do is just have a glance. If you remember, there were bags and everything we left here, with the nuts and the like in. And, well, there isn't a trace. Not a bag in sight. Now that is highly unusual. Highly unusual. That is really odd. Usually find something lying about. Okay, time to get the tree done. The stump. The tree, not much of a tree left. And look how the light is now changing. Look how the sunlight is coming in. Now we're here to dress the tree with all the gifts and the goodies. Look how the light is coming into the forest. Ah, just spotted it. Over here. Here's the bag. And the secondary net, it's not a bag, it's a net. It's in this direction. So the jar, the empty peanut butter jar, is in that direction. I don't know if they want me to go up this way. Tell you what, we'll come back out this way. Oh, and guess where it's beside? How interesting. How interesting. This little arrangement I commented on the video 2 videos ago, and I said, what part of that feels natural to you? How interesting that the net should be near there. Right, no plastic bags at all. So we have pecans, chocolate brownie, chocolate orange wafer biscuits, chocolate caramel wafer biscuits, some almonds and some dried apricots. And then here, this is this korma curried, it's a mild curried mackerel fillets. And the peanut butter, if you notice, I have not broken the seal on that. And then I've just put the incense sticks, and I think it's tampa. Is it something like tampia? Tampia, that's what it is. Whatever tampia is. It smells very pleasant. And this is the old bag I've just taken down. And we have apples here, some more apples there, and a mango. So I just want you to have a look and see how that has been. I have wrapped that round 4 times, round the branch there. These are held on with string. You can see the way string, so it's just looped through itself, on there. So for that bag, I had tied it on like that last week, and then it's over here. I think that's quite interesting. So, I'm going to pick this up. I like to collect all my rubbish up, but I'm just surprised that there is not a plastic bag in sight. Very strange. Anyway, so that's our gifting area. See how the light is shining through? I've literally turned my back and put my backpack on. I'm just going to pan the camera down and look what it's lighting up. I just want to focus on the smoke that rises, because actually what it does is it provides another layer, and we're always being told about layers. What I'll do is I'll have a good look at these layers, see if we see anything. Wish you could smell this, folks, because that's just adorable. So it is time to ring the bell. So if you've got earbuds in, just be careful, because if you have sensitive ears, these are going to deafen you. You know they are. So please just stand back, be warned. I don't want anybody having damage to their, having damage to their ears. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Ah dear. Do like a bit of fun. I just can't help myself. Look how this forest has changed. Isn't that just amazing? At the split time that we are here. Isn't that amazing? Just at the moment that we are here and we've done the food, we get this wonderful, wonderful light. And the 747s. This is a marker point for 747s, I'm afraid. They come out of Edinburgh Airport. It's not that far away. There's something that I want to bring up about a video I did a few weeks ago, and I need to thank Audrey for this because she's dropped this in my pea brain. And I did a video, and it was based on the speed that planets, this is where I was actually researching when I did it, the speed that planets rotate at, and in comparison to the others, Jupiter is crazy, and so the thought was always there, Jupiter, go home Jupiter, you're drunk. So I just titled my video, Go Home Jupiter. So, it was in reference to Pluto. Audrey had mentioned about Pluto, and a lot of the dark energy that we get on our planet in this world comes from Pluto. And I just want to explain, Pluto is a very gaseous planet. So if you're thinking of Pluto, and it has been visible recently, but when you think of it, think of Rotorua area in New Zealand, Yellowstone, anywhere where there's a lot of volcanic activity. And I believe that Pluto has lots of eruptions, very sulphurous planet, and we know what connections. If you start to smell sulphurous smells in a property, you know exactly what that is. So I'm not going to go down that road. I don't want to mention that here because it's such a lovely forest, but you probably can work that one out for yourself. So Pluto, not particularly the best energy. And my thought was that when I queried it with Athenian, she said, Sally, you said go home Jupiter. What you should be saying is go home Pluto. So we need to just reflect that energy that emanates off Pluto and reflect it back. Act like a mirror. Send it back. We don't want it. Regarding light, and as you probably know, I am quite taken with light that I see in the forest. A lot of it. I just think it's stunning. It's beautiful the way it presents. And I want you to think of yourselves as an individual. And you may think that because you don't have Bigfoot in your garden, you might live in a city, you might not even get out into the forest. Don't reduce your value because you think you're not here. You're not in Arkansas. You're not in Colorado. You're not in Ontario. Don't reduce the input that you have. Take yourself and think of yourself. Take yourself as a separate person and evaluate yourself. See what you come up with. So what do? Think about what you do. Put that aside. Think about what you like to do, what you excel at, might have nothing to do with your work or anything. What you excel at. Does your work evolve around your religious plan? Whatever. And all I'm saying is have value in yourself, because you may think you're not contributing because you're in a big smoke somewhere, or because you feel you are unable to. You may feel that you are unable to connect with Bigfoot. I think you might find yourself pleasantly surprised by that. Maybe, just maybe, you connect more than you think you do. Maybe you just haven't acknowledged that. Sun's going. In one of the emails I received, somebody said that they thought they might be trying too hard. Don't try hard. Don't try at all. It will come, and it will come naturally. And I think we've all got different gifts, different fields. Some are healers, natural healers. And you can heal in different ways. Some of us are natural hearers, listeners. Others are communicators. Absorbing. We're all absorbing information. We're all contributing something in one way or another. So don't devalue your contribution and think that you are not a part of it. You are absolutely a part of it. And you may hear more than you think you do. And it's usually the first thought that comes into your head is the correct one. And I'm looking around all this stuff. And there's our sort of peculiar shape. It's just on a small stick. Small little twiglets. But like I've said before, don't discount anything. So I wanted to put that aside, so you understand that however small you think you may be in this scheme of things, actually you're massive. Just the fact that you participate in this and respond, are thinking about it, that is a massive contribution. Absolutely massive. You've no idea. Because you are feeling the light. You are still feeling the light. So the other thing is, how does that respond with Bigfoot? Why are Bigfoot coming out now? Why are they more prevalent within, say, the past few years? Is it because of social media and the ability to spread stuff? And I take YouTube in the social media thing, although it's the more polite of social media, in the ability to spread information. But we've all got mobile phones, cell phones with cameras on these days, so there's more chance of this all coming to the fore. Is that the reason why? Because we can communicate on a world basis instead of just with our neighbours down the road. So I wanted to take the world as it is now, and I'm wondering if we are in a repeat of 100-year cycle. So I'm thinking First World War. The world is at war for 4 years. Europe predominantly, Gallipoli, Turkey, parts of Africa. The world between 1914 and 1918 was in great unrest and at war. Now we have come through a period of war. Not a world war, but a period of massive unrest. I mean, that particular war affected mainly Europe. The wars that have been of recent have affected the Middle East. So there's your 100-year correlation. First World War, and then the wars involving Iraq, Afghanistan, etc. So let's move on from there, go back post First World War. Spanish flu. I know it originated in Kansas, but let's say Spanish flu. That went on from, well, it was identified in 1919, but I think it was first noted or recorded in 1917. Went on to 1923. So we've just had the shit show that is COVID. 100 years later. That's just one thought. Then another 100-year cycle on that. Let's think of another thing. We have a lot of industrial action, strikes and the like. People wanting a bigger pay packet, finding the cost of living hard. They had exactly the same in the 1920s. In this country we had the national strike in 1926, everything ground to a halt. And people wanted more parity. And the same thing is happening now, although I do believe that a lot of people who are on relatively good pay want more pay to pay for a lifestyle, when actually they should be grateful probably with what they've got. But we never think about that. We just think, want a pound in the pocket, want more money, more money. And I think that's what happened in 1926. They wanted more money, and they really did have hard times then. They didn't have any luxuries in the way that we know of luxuries now. Holidays and the like, vacations. So that's a parity with today in this country. Now, as for financial crash, in the 1920s, the Wall Street crash, 1929, we had that crash in 2008. The world had a financial hiccup in 2008, a shortage of being able to move money around. So that has already taken place. And now I wonder, we're into a very strange stretch. Certainly 1923 onwards, at the end of the flu, the Spanish flu, right through the strikes, the Wall Street crash, and into the Depression, the Great Depression of the 1930s. We've possibly lived through that depression with the world recession that happened after the 2008 crash. And I think that we're coming to an end of that now, but we have to pay. We have to pay in order to, through our taxes and things, to try and pay our debts that we've incurred. And I think that is worldwide. And I think the same thing happened over that period of time in the 1920s, and it's now happening now. So 2000, the 2000s have been a bit grotty from about 2008 onwards. So we're up to 223 next year, 22, 23 period into 24. And I think that we're going to really, really struggle. We're going to feel things next year. 23, 24 are going to be extremely difficult. Food shortages in places there shouldn't be. Mass movement and migration of people. And I think that is going to happen. That is going to occur. There's going to be a new balance of power. And I think after that, maybe we go into a golden age. Maybe we do. I don't know. Maybe it's just up to us. So is that why the people, the energies, the people and the energies that are prevalent, is that why they are more prevalent now? Is that why they are coming out? Because we need support, we need guidance, they need beacons of light to keep us on the straight and narrow. Because there was a group called Pop Will Eat Itself, where we're the same human beings. We're going to end up eating ourselves, destroying what we have. And in comment to things like animals, extinctions and things like that, some is meant to happen apparently, but a lot of it is all by our own hand. And so if we poison the water, this was Athenian's words, if we poison the water, we cannot complain when we think the water tastes funny and it poisons us. So you eat what you serve out. It's a form of karma, isn't it? So these were just one of the thoughts I had as to why I thought that the people might be really prevalent now. And those of us that think we haven't felt them, I think you'll find that when you think about it, you have an awareness of some kind and you can't pinpoint it. But you just have an awareness of some kind. And I think this is the connections that occur with all things. I want to say of a spiritual nature, but that we think, that connect to our thought processes. And I think there's many different beings, spirit guides, peoples. And we look to the stars for guidance. we look to our ancestors, or we should look to our ancestors, and we should look at history. This 100-year cycle, is history repeating itself? And if so, then why? What have we learnt? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So at least we can contribute something. At least we can say, we'll try. And by each one of us contributing in this, thinking about things, the bigger picture, the more universal picture, which is really what we're doing, and we're being guided to do so with the help of Athenian and Dacia Gaia and a back, and all of those in this world, enlightened beings. If we are being guided to do so, we're very lucky. We're very lucky. And I like to go with the flow. So I'm going to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. It's a glorious day. See that light? It's fantastic. Thanks for watching, and I just hoping that this just opens or shines a little light on some of the doors. Are already well aware your doors are open. Take care, my folks. Have a really good week ahead. Bye.